friends. I'd mentioned in the last video that the rhythms we are using on Maile Waltz are not, well, set in stone. And in fact, in Ernest Kai's early books, he wrote no rhythm for the songs. He just gave us a fretboard diagram of where to place our fingers and how long each chord was to be held for. But he wrote in other places of the book different types of strums that he would use that would work in different contexts, and expected you to use that in a piecemeal fashion to prescribe them to whatever piece you were playing at the time. So with that means that there are multiple different correct ways that we can play this song. One is not necessarily better than another. So let's look at some alternate strums that we can use. Now, if you remember back to the A section of this song, we used a rhythm contained in the all the finger stroke, which was 1, 2, and 3, 1, 2, and 3, 1, 2, and 3. Now, we can change the strum, but we can also change the rhythm itself, and that's exactly what John King did in recordings of him playing this piece. Although he notated the all the fingers stroke in his book, he played it differently, and he in fact even played the rhythm differently than the stroke. He actually played 1 and 2 and 3, 1 and 2 and 3, 1 and 2 and 3, but the way that he did this was very specific. He used Raschiato rolls, much as we did in the all the finger stroke, except he would do the eighth notes with a 4-stroke roll, meaning that he's coming down with the ring finger, the middle finger, the first finger, and then up with the first finger. That's our basic 4-stroke roll. And then beat 3 would just be a simple down strum, as we would expect. So why would you do this? And the main answer is that it actually enables you to play the piece faster because there's less movement. This is a more efficient movement than strumming like this, because everything is so close right here. We can actually get the speed quite a bit faster. But that comes with a lot of practice. So when we're practicing Raschiato rolls, and this is the key, is we need to practice them slowly and effectively and rhythmically correct. The speed always comes with time. You want to set up a metronome. This is one instant that I find you really do need to use a metronome, or we do not get even spacing between each of these notes. And just try playing this basic 4-beat roll with a metronome. Just for a couple minutes each day. Until this becomes natural, because we need to have more independence over these fingers. If you think back to when you started playing uke, some of the basic chord voicings probably seemed nearly impossible at first, because we hadn't developed the fine motor skills to place our fingers where we need them, or the muscle memory to consistently do it. The same thing occurs with the right hand. Much like you used to practice chord changes, you want to practice finger independence on the right hand as well, until you can get it nice and fast, but also very accurate. Let's look at the B section. And the B section of this tune comprises a rhythm that is a quarter note, an eighth note triplet, and then another quarter note. So 1, 2 triplet, 3, 1, 2 triplet, 3. Now, as we've spoken about before, and I'll link to a video that I did on this topic earlier, there are a lot of ways to play an eighth note triple, or really any kind of 3-note pattern on uke. It's one of the joys of using our whole hand and not a pick to play the instrument. Now, in this instance, what Kai did was play the index finger triple. And in that works just fine, but many of you probably know the thumb roll triple, which is coming down with the index finger, the thumb, and then up with the index finger. This is usually the first triple that most uke players learn. And much like with the Raschiato stroke in the previous section, this allows us to do the same thing in a more efficient manner, because the wrist, when we're doing the thumb roll triple, continues this basic down and up motion that we have when we do a down and up strum, as opposed to needing to speed up the wrist. But in addition to that, we also get, well, a different sound, right? Because we're hitting our nails on different accented beats, so it doesn't sound exactly the same. Again, this comes back to providing textural differences in our playing by using different parts of the hand. So you can try the thumb roll triple here. I really like the John King approach to this, because most things come back to John King's playing. And he would use a 3-stroke roll to play the triplet. So much like we did in the previous section, down with the ring finger, down with the middle finger, down with the first finger, except now it's rhythmically an 8th note triplet. And then we have our final 3rd beat as an upstroke. So you can practice going through like this, and I rather like this manner. I think this is a good compromise between the thumb roll and moving really fast for the index triplet, because we really get the articulation of that index finger triplet coming through. But John King didn't stop there. He actually went a bit further, and I love this pattern that he used. So in the B section, he would come up with the thumb, which we find is actually rather standard in a lot of early Hawaiian music, especially in waltzes, to use the nail of the thumb on the downbeat of a measure. This is a very common practice that we see quite frequently. So we come up with this, and then our 3-stroke roll. So that's our 8th note triplet. So we come up with the thumb. But then for our final stroke, beat 3, where we would usually come up, this isn't going to work in this instance. Because if we come up, how are we going to do a second upstroke? And how are we going to get back there fast enough? And the answer is we're not. We can't get back. So how do we do it? Well, we follow through with the thumb on beat 3. So our pattern becomes up with the thumb, down with the ring, middle, index, and then finally through with the thumb. And much like with using the rolls in the previous section, this enables us to actually play these 8th note triplets quite a bit faster. Where with my index finger triple, I have really a speed limit that I could do here because my wrist only moves so fast. Where we use this other one, we can get those notes out quite a bit faster. But again, this all comes back to rhythmic accuracy. The goal is to spend some time just sitting back and getting this right hand finger independence so that we can apply it in a host of different rhythmic places.